BSdiscover. How are you doing? Are you breathing? Well, you better give thanks. Or are you one of those who take advantage of knowing I am alive today? I have a second chance today. Tomorrow ain't promised to no man. But today, you got a second chance. I tell everybody who forgets that go through, I don't care what you're going through. When you rise, you have another chance. We always hear how people go through, how people suffer. But nobody talks about, I got up the next day after the suffering. Are you taking advantage of your daily opportunity for change? A lot of us do. A lot of us take advantage of it. We don't realize there is a second chance. We begin to build on promises. We begin to build on dreams rather than building on lives. That means that life don't matter to me. I know I'm not to take care of that life. But how can you build your life on promises and dreams to prosper so everybody can give you the finances you need to survive, but you don't recognize those who need to survive? That's the lesson today. That's the lesson today. Having yourself become aware of how precious life is. Not precious just for you, but precious for others. Now, I know a lot of us have dreams. A lot of us has ways of making them dreams come true. And we're always talking about those who try to take away. But what about those who try to give? In their differences, they try to give. I'm talking about rescue. I'm talking about change, RC, and I'm talking about mental. Rescue, change, and mental. Not the CRM most of you know about, but the RCM. Rescue, change, mental. That's me when I get up in the morning, what am I trying to rescue? That's me to change. And the mental is what it's going to take for you to make it happen. As well as for yourself and as well as for others. I want you to begin to understand some people is built on money. Some people is built on time. I'd rather be built on time than to be built on money. Because still money is money on time. Being built on money is money just being thrown to you. And money that is thrown can be taken away. But money that comes in time is still, but in time, it grows, it prospers, and it makes change. Are you hearing me? We lose ourselves when we wake up and forget it's another day. Not only for me and my family, but others who may need something from me. So, what you need from me now is for me to let you know time guarantees change. But you have to be patient. You have to be at will to learn different tools, making different measures. It takes time. And it's going to build your wealth. It's going to build your situation. It's going to build your change. But if they just do it to me, then what did I do? I did nothing to make it. You hear a lot of people winning the lottery, all this money, and losing the money that quick. Time had nothing to do with the money that instantly came their way. But if time, it would have been trials, tribulations, which are learning stability that prepares you for the change, for the finance, for the welcoming, for the understanding. You know, I'm a New York native, born right here in New York. I left New York for about, I could say 26 years. I came back in 2026. I left, in 1999 is when I left. I was about to graduate, but I had an instant change. Trial. The instant change took me all the way to South Carolina. Then it took me to Florida. Tribulation. And as the trials and tribulations and the will to want to survive financially, mentally, and physically allow me to stabilize understanding, change, and most of all, awareness. If I was not aware that I needed change, I never would have went from this state. It wasn't working there. That state. And whatever trials and tribulation took me to the next. But when I woke up, I knew it was time for change. And I made sure I headed in that direction. Some of us have to leave as chosen ones. Because God prepared us for a stage. But in that stage, are you aware? At then, I wasn't aware. Why am I going through this? What is these trials and tribulations for? How am I going to utilize this to gain wealth? Not just wealth, but to achieve in life. That's the first thing you have to do. The wealth, everybody wants wealth. And wealth could be a settlement of surviving, a settlement of giving to others where the wealth is truly built, or a settlement of security. That's just for yourself, for you just to go and run and just enjoy life. And a lot of people do that. They get that wealth and they're traveling, they're doing things, they're buying houses, they're making change on themselves They're not buying houses for other people, but they're buying houses for themselves. Escalating to a new level. Tomorrow's not promised to me. Let me get up. And that's what I did. Let me get up. I didn't mind. I wasn't afraid to go to a different area, to go to a different region. I wasn't. There was no fear in me as I went through the trials and tribulation, but it was a lesson, a change, an awareness. But within that change in awareness, it also brought financial stability. I never had to ask. And still I gave. On the income that I was on. So when we begin to want to change our income, when we talk about riches, when we talk about living life better, it's at a different point than where we've been. Don't you want to get there? Don't you want to achieve it? So when I came back to New York, it brought me back to changes. It made me aware of where I used to be. I started off in a place where people hated the color of your skin. Where there were gang wars just because of the color of your skin. And when I arrived in a different place, it was different, but the mentality of the people who was against you, the foreplay, was different. It wasn't a gang war, instant gratification. This was to be a long gratification, which would stream on into other areas and other people's lives. But I went through that trial and that tribulation. And because I knew how to lie down and get back up, rub it off my shoulder, today's a new day. How I'm going to combat the situation. How am I going to combat how it is nowadays? It ain't instant gratification. It's long-term gratification. It's the battle most of us go through. Which means I'm trying to make it through school. I'm trying to make it through work. I'm trying to change where my environment is. But the gratification that the enemy has prepared for themselves was to stop you. Not through short-term gratification, a fight, but through mental gratification. Making you think you're not worthy. Making you think they are better than you. Making you think you don't have another chance. And the fight is strong because if I can't get there because you stopping me by who you know, which is no longer the case, or what you know, then I cannot make a change. Long-term gratification. And a lot of you still going through long-term gratification battles, where the enemy is going to be gratified seeing you not survive, seeing you suffer. And I'm going to tell you about the enemy. The enemy will look you in the face when they think you're not looking. But let me tell you what you do. Look down. Don't look up. Look like you're paying attention to something else. And if the person pass you and look in your face, and don't greet themselves, that's the enemy. They just want to see, are you happy? It gratifies them to see you unhappy. It gratifies them to see you working hard. It gratifies them to see you go through change. But you hang in there. You hang in there. And what you have to do, in most situations, you're going to be as close to the enemy. You're going to have to learn to separate yourself in closeness. I ain't got to say much to you. I'm going to give you the respect. I'm going to show you gratification the way it should be. But I'm going to do it in a way that it satisfies you temporarily, because this can't be no long-term communication. Because as far as you know, you don't know that I know you're the enemy. Listen to me. The enemy wants to see you sad. I've seen it. And I'll play it off. I'll be working, or I'll be walking, I'll be looking somewhere else. And the enemy is looking dead in your face. Just looking at the expression on your face. That's what they want to see. And as long as they see that, it's a long-term gratification. But the secret is, grab it. Grab it. And when the time is right, it shall cease itself. But you got to be smart, because the enemy is smart. The enemy don't fight alone. The enemy come in abundance with others, because they were made to try to tear the chosen one down. They don't want you to think you're chosen. They don't want you to think you're special. So they will do everything. Long-term gratification. Battles. No longer street fights. Now, the battles are at the job. The battles with your family, secret battles. And they will use other people to get to you. Either do your family to touch you. But let me tell you what you do. You hang in there. Hang strong. Mentally, don't let the battle tear you down. Because once they get to this, what are you thinking about? Nothing. You think it's all over. If I don't have this right, then what can I get right? Have to have your mind right. This is the second time I talked. I remember so many incidents, so many times. I keep saying, why the Lord had me always raised around, I don't know, it was just the neighborhoods that we were in. We're fortunate children to be around prejudiced people. But we was always in that situation. The gratification was we ain't had no issues, because we ain't start no battles. The gratification was that we knew how to separate ourselves and stay separated to where you're not welcome. I remember when I got older, we moved in another neighborhood. My mama worked in a hospital. Prejudice, light skin. My mother, very light skin. And God rest her soul. In this hospital, the light skin would walk on one side, the dark skin. This is the old story we used to hear when I got older. But it was still that way. Like, we had dark people in the family. And a lot of us couldn't work, you know. But one had a chance. It took that one to mess it up for the rest. Do you see the gratification? If mentally they would have prepared themselves to say this was an opportunity for change, to open door for the family, then it would have saved. It wasn't a physical battle, short-term gratification. It was long-term. So the opportunity ceased. Could I be upset? No. Because the opportunity was there. And it usually was not able to be opened, that door. So the gratification is in the heart. That's how I carried it. I didn't take it with hate. I took it like we had an opportunity, but I don't know the situation. I don't know why that person didn't survive. But listen, I hold it in my heart where they had an opportunity. Messed it up for us, but we had that opportunity. A lot of people don't. I wake up like this, waiting for the next battle. Not a physical gratification, but a mental one. Then we had, I remember Mayor Giuliani came as mayor. Well, he was running as mayor. He was going through our neighborhood. And there's Little Italy over there, I remember. And it was battles. It was color battles. And he came through, and he would go in the place, he would talk to them. And eventually, he made changes in that whole area. He changed the whole area. His energy was silent. But what he released was loud. He changed the whole Fordham Road area. He made new buildings, new housing. And when you gratify in the heart, the universe and that vibration that was there, because it wasn't no hate, but it opened doors. What I told you, eventually you will win. If mentally, if I would have took it and been mad at everybody, Lord knows what I would have done. But no, we had the opportunity. It will cease. Now let me seize another opportunity. The other opportunity, see how it came from that same neighborhood, then it went to change. We had the whole block, people, stores, everything was renewed. And when everything renewed, the whole community changed, we get to enjoy the new. Then, all of a sudden, the hospital started changing. The people started changing. Things were different. People started communicating. The racial slurs and the racial fights, the short-term gratification of just knowing how to fight to express myself, became long-term gratification for us. We can work it out. We can make things happen. In that same neighborhood, I got a job. I was able to go through a job. I met an Italian lady I never forget. I had 26 cars. That's what DMV says. Since I've been in Florida, hopefully nobody has anything in my name, but since I've been, I always buy cars. I can't help it. I had cars since I was 18. And this lady told me, and just because people is a prejudiced neighborhood, don't mean that there ain't somebody there to feed you. But have you ceased the opportunity? This lady at work, conversations would be awesome. As a woman, she taught me how to be a lady. I know who I am, but I am a lady first, I always say, before I am anything else. I am woman. Woman, get your own. She had a brand new car. She didn't really ride it. She didn't really drive a car. She said, you see my car? She said, I got a car just in case. I'm going to tell you, when I was a child, I was about 18, whatever, get a car. Get your own. You can go around, you don't have to ask anybody for anything. And this is the same prejudiced neighborhood that everybody expected so much evil. And as you see how the energy changed. So I was able to walk in and come out with something good. Long term, see how I switched? Gratification. Because the heart was right. I was willing to learn. The heart was right. I was willing to learn. Not with this. A lot of us learn like this, with our fists, than to learn with our mind. So take this with you, because you're going to go through some long-term gratification battles. I done stirred your all in a different place of understanding, didn't I? That's what I'm here for. Once you reach that long-term gratification battles, you got to notice the good, not just bad, and store it. And it will come back to you. And there'll be others trying to take it away because they are upset that you are where you are, or you know what you know. But it is better to fight with this, children, adults, than to fight with this. Now, this video ain't for children, but let your children know. Quick disclaimer. I am not a therapist. This is not a therapeutic channel. I'm not a financial advisor. But what I have for you, my life experience, as you can see, can be education. Now run with that. And not with this. This is self-defense. This is living. This is the wealth you have built that nobody want to see you succeed and receive. But we all was meant to have wealth. There's different type of wealth. The first one is survival. Until next time, BS and Discover.
Changing who I am, I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. Yeah, you ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me agitated. I think about my actions, plan them out, evaluated. That's how I end up on the top, man, I'm calculated. My mind's a weapon, my body is